It was not part of the original plan.
Ladies
Long,
and
hard
gentlemen,
way.
she just went diving to 100 meters just for fun, yeah?
My journey in diving, if somebody told me 8 years back that you're going to be a scuba instructor or even a PADI course director, I would have said, like, what? What's that?
You're one of the first female Indian course directors in the region.
Planet can survive even without humans. It's us who have actually made it much worse.
Hello everyone and welcome to Scuba with Sara G. Today we have a really inspirational guest with us. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but this is someone who's a PADI course director, who's a swim program director, who's a free diving instructor. I think the list goes on, yeah?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything? Tell me a little more about how you got to this position with such a big bouquet of talents and like titles in your name.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. Sara, this is absolutely a pleasure. My journey in diving, if somebody told me 8 years back that you're going to be a scuba instructor or even a PADI course director, I would have said, like, what? What's that? So I've always loved the nature. Always loved, being out, and adventurous. But swimming was not something that I knew how to do. So, and I'd also had a very embarrassing drowning incident, which kind of drove me to learn swimming and, try water activities more. And thankfully for my partner, I even got a chance to try scuba diving.
Wow.
And then I think the first dive that I did and I came back from the ocean, I was like, this is something that I want to do and I want to be an instructor. So it was absolutely, after that, I think it was completely, it's now nostalgic for me to even go back and look at how everything went. Everything was so nice and quick and smooth. I think when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, everything just falls into place. And so it has been a very smooth, and there have been so many people who've motivated me, along the way. And I've met so many wonderful people, including you.
Same here.
So it's been absolutely amazing.
Let's start with the thing that's the most fresh in your memory, your CDTC training.
Yes.
I think I've been following you like a spectator. How's it going? Tell us more about it.
Yeah.
But now you can actually recap the whole adventure, the journey. What did you learn? The friends that you met?
Yeah, so I think I will divide it into two parts.
First of all, tell our listeners what is CDTC. Most of them wouldn't really know.
CDTC is actually a course director training course. It's a 1 week of, I would call it like a boot camp, where you go through a lot of different collaborative activities where you learn what kind of situations you would be in when you're dealing with, instructor development. And it kind of prepares you to be a course director, and so you can build more scuba instructors and, let the industry keep going. So my journey was like two parts. One was the preparation itself, which was
harder than the
it was because I did not imagine it to do it this year. I still thought I have time and I could take it easy, but owning a business and and training and making sure that all the preparation was right in place. Building a business plan, changing my focus from building a business to building a business plan for instructor development. That was something that, I had to spend a little bit time on. So it was exhausting. But when I went in for the session, which is the 1 week course, I don't know how that 1 week, ended, because it was so fast. We were around 39 of us from different countries. And it was just like a flow of ideas that kept going. I don't think my brain was exercised that much in that year. So it was very refreshing for me, to be honest, to be in that space, because when I was always a creative person, even in my previous life before getting into diving, and it was just when you get into the operational part of the business, it just gets very mundane, and you kind of get busy with all the small, tiny things. So it was just nice to take myself out of that and put myself in a place where I actually, can thrive and get all the ideas out. So it was amazing.
Tell us more about it though. Like, what did you do there? Who did you meet? What did you experience?
So we actually met the who's who of PADI, first of all. So you keep watching all of these training videos, where where they show you a certain number of skills, how to train, and all of that. So those esteemed people were actually there training you, so you get to meet them face to face. So that was an amazing experience. The people itself who were the candidates. So now imagine these are 39 people from different countries who have gone through an interview process and gotten selected from those different countries to come and represent and get this training done. So they're all extremely talented, some of them extremely experienced. They've been doing this already as IDC staff and staffing for many, many years. So it was just a natural progression for them. So it was very interesting for me to be with them and, get access to information that they have faced during their IDC staffing and what kind of challenges did they face when they are training instructors and how did they run. And every single country runs IDCs in different way.
Tell us a few different ways. What did you know?
So basically, when you in UAE, it's flexible because people who are usually instructor candidates, they already have a full-time job. They don't think of this as a career, but yes, obviously a second option, side hustle, or even for the passion that they have, towards diving. So they want something that can fit with their schedule, which is already so busy with all the stuff that they're doing, right? So it's flexible. You kind of work for 4-5 months, which is what I did. I had a full-time job. So I used to come in only Saturdays or Sundays. And It took me like 4-5 months to finish my CDTC. But there are countries who run this in 2 weeks. So they have 1 week of, distance learning or like online learning that they do. And then 1 week of training and that's done. And then
do you think that's sufficient?
I think it depends because if you're dedicated, see, there are two types of audiences, right? When you have people who have the time to completely dedicate themselves for 2 weeks, why not? It's completely, because ultimately the number of hours that you're putting in is the same. It's just scattered versus
intensive.
Yeah. Versus something that is very dedicated and you put in that 2 weeks and get it done. So what is also interesting is how many people or how many candidates that they have in a specific IDC. So typically here you have 5, 4, that's the number, single digit number that you see. But there are countries who do a lot of huge numbers.
How do they find so many people to come?
I think it's just that the business has been there for a long time and they've kind of developed it there and they have a nice sea. So people want to get nice free dives. I'm guessing that could be the reason. But it's quite interesting how there are certain countries that became hub, which is, Thailand, as we know.
Egypt.
There's Egypt, as we know. There's also in US, Key Largo is one of the places. So there are these places which have ended up becoming the hub of that continent, and everybody kind of, flies down and does their courses there.
You're someone from India, actually, originally. Tell us a little about India and the business of diving.
So it's quite new still, and things is picking up definitely. We're getting a lot of help from our Prime Minister to even get more awareness around this, but. I feel that there's so much more that can be done. We have access to some beautiful, islands, and that business can thrive more. I think as Indians, we are always, focused more on academics and not on the sports.
We all know that.
So to understand that there is this one, aspect of life that you can have as a second side hustle or anything that is just for your brains and for your mental health. It's always something nice. And I think there's more awareness needed on that. So I would love to, go and reconnect with the people that I know there to bring more awareness around this. I have not been in India for the last 4 years, so I'm quite disconnected now, but hopefully I will be able to.
But do you see yourself training in India, doing courses, helping people there?
Not sure. I don't think so. I don't have that in my mind right now. I have built Dive Campus for a reason. And I think Dubai serves as a beautiful hub to a lot of different countries. And we have access to beautiful sea too. So I would love to have trainings here mainly. Yes, but I would love to have candidates from India. Why not? There's a good language, connection that we definitely have. So if there are people who need training in a different language, I could definitely provide that. So I am open to that. Yeah.
Since you're someone who's been on a journey and achieved so much in such a short span of time, let's take it one by one. Let's start with becoming a course director.
Sure.
You're one of the first female Indian course directors in the region. You're someone who puts India on the map and diving on the map because, as we all know, there's a lot of men in diving, but not as many women. Have you ever felt any challenges in that area or not at all?
Challenges as from a nationality point of view, no. But yes, I always get like a raised eyebrow that I'm from India and I'm into diving, you know. So I think that's something that people don't know, that we can be adventurous.
Yes,
that
we can.
that we can do, we can get into this. Yes, definitely we, as a sport, it's not something very popular, or it was not very popular. Now it's getting popular, and there are different classes that, you know, that would prefer. But what's interesting is how me being on a boat, on a diving boat as an instructor, kind of inspires all the young divers. So
I want you to know how much you inspire, not just the young divers, but everyone around you.
Thank you so
Some
much.
people say it, some people don't, but I'm sure you are aware of this.
Thank you so much. So I used to go on diving boats to snorkel because I didn't know how to dive, and I had a medical condition which kind of stopped me from it. But then when I was there, I never saw another Indian on the boat. Yeah. This is like, and I'm not saying they were not, maybe I was never teamed up or whatever. It never just happened, right? So I never saw it, and I never thought that this is something that Indians would love to do, you know? So it was nice for me to be there and at least know that once I start diving, maybe I'll be able to get in more people. So I want to break in one barrier, which is for people who don't know how to swim.
Yes.
And for me to get those people to understand what they're missing out on is something that I want to spend more time in. You know what I mean? So because I understood that when I was able to be comfortable in the water, swim comfortably, even have a first nice dive, I thought why I didn't do this all my life.
Exactly.
And I just felt why I didn't have somebody to guide me through this, because there's very little information out there to help you, get through this. So I focus a lot of my training, and even though I went on to become a tech instructor and a freediving instructor, I still love teaching swimming because it helps me to get somebody from being a non-swimmer to the other side,
and overcoming challenges and breaking belief systems.
And then sky's the limit for them, because they can just explore whatever different routes that they want to go to.
Tell us about some of your inspiring students who you've held their hand and taken them step by step.
I have one who was a 45-year-old lady. She never even took a shower head up because she was so overwhelmed by water being on her head. So she was always a very phobic person when it comes to water, and she never really, and she's an Egyptian, she has beautiful Red Sea, and she used to go to the hub and, with her family, but never really got into water. A few people from her family tried to teach her swimming, but she never got into it. She tried swimming classes, but never worked. And she just happened to pass by Dive Campus one day, and we were talking, and I told her, why don't you just come for one session, one only, and we'll see how it goes. And the first time that she came in that first session, I got her to float with her head facing in the water, and she was blown away. So she was blown away that she could do that.
Of course.
And it was and after that she became a swimmer. She is now a diver. She goes to the hub and now dives.
Wow.
So it's quite for me, that was the most fulfilling part of my journey, because for somebody who's gone so many years without learning how to swim, and then and always thinking that that's something that they will never be able to do it in their life, and then to break that and to bring them in this side and let them see what amazing ocean has to offer. So that was very fulfilling, and I would continue doing that and now that's why I became a program director, so I can pass that on to more instructors so they could also kind of teach. So my teaching does not only involve the curriculum, which is so well designed, but it also involves a lot of my personal style, which basically I learned and when there were those light bulb moments when I first started to float, oh, it was that easy. Why didn't somebody tell me this way? So those things is something that I kind of bring into my teaching, and that is what kind of relates to the students, and it works.
I like what you said there. You have a very strong academic background when it comes to all these different topics, but it's your secret sauce, it's your personality, it's your experience that makes the difference. So tell us a little about your value as a teacher in any of these fields, and how is it different from someone else?
Very interesting. So I think I'm very patient because I know how difficult it could be to learn a certain motor skills. This is something you've been walking straight all your life. We don't realize how much time we took to walk straight, on a ground, like as kids, because we don't remember that.
I fell a million times first.
Fell a million times. So equally, this is a completely new motor skill that you learn. So buoyancy takes time, yes. Finning takes time, yes. So you need to be patient. And that's what I bring into my teaching. So a lot of people think taking a course will get them the results that they want, but it's actually diving. So I love to teach my students even when I'm diving. So even when I'm fun diving with them, there are things that we add into our fun dives, tell them to do some certain tricks and techniques, polishing the skills, making them more confident divers. So that's something that I think I like to do in my training, so it's not limited to the course that they booked me with. If you're coming diving with me, you'll be learning, throughout anyways.
For sure. You also did mention Dive Campus. So for those of us who are not aware of this magical place, tell us a little more about it.
So Dive Campus was an absolute dream. When we started teaching, Islam and I, we used to dive everywhere. Everyone, like all the dive centers are our friends, but we always thought that there's one home missing where you want the divers to come back and hang out and, relax and talk about all the amazing dives that we've had.
Almost.
Like a campus, right? So that's where Dive Campus actually came into being. What it looks like right now is obviously the mix of ideas from me and Islam on how we wanted the place to look like, what we want people to do, how we wanted to serve like the hub for anything related to diving that you want, because we are completely hungry for knowledge. We both of us are like that. We don't stop learning, and we wanted to build a place which could help people to do that. So Dive Campus is actually the first PADI eco center. So it's very sustainably designed. In everything that we do, we try to make sure that we reduce the impact on the planet. We are also a 5-star IDC center. We train people to become instructors. And we also teach scuba, tech diving, free diving, swimming. So it's something that we ended up adding more to the services, because we just realized we don't want people to go away. We want them to stay with us. We want to keep diving with them. So the kind of needs that the divers had, we kept adding more to the plate. So it was actually a combination of how aspiring we were, and versus what people, the support that we got and the kind of inputs that we got from people to build it to what it is today.
For sure. You're also someone who's very community focused.
Yeah.
I know you have a very cool talk coming up on the 31st.
Yes.
It's about Lightroom, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So tell us more about this series of talks you have and how you get people from all walks of life to come in, to make friends, to share knowledge.
Yeah. So Sara, you would have noticed when you're on a diving boat, when you go for a dive, that time before you reach for the dive and that surface interval is the most amazing time, because you get to share knowledge, you get to share your diving stories, you get to share the skills that you've learned, you get to talk about your gear, you get to talk about your camera,
your next trip.
We wanted to get that time expanded a little bit and not just limited to when you go for a dive, So we thought, why not come up with something like a nice get-together? We call it Everything Diving Nights. It's mainly because you come in and talk. It could be related to anything related to diving. So we've done some very interesting talks.
Tell us some of the topics you've covered so far.
Some of the things that we covered was decompression, chambers. People don't understand what this is. And And often when they go through the e-learning, that's the part that they quickly browse through and they move on because they're only worried about how the dive is going to be.
Sure.
So we wanted to bring that knowledge out. We've spoken about equalization issues, very common again, something that I went through as a diver. We've talked about underwater photography, everybody's favorite.
Yes.
And this is something that we keep repeating every now and then because it's something that like everybody relates to, everybody aspires to be, or everybody wants to, improve in their as a skill for them. So that's something that we do. And yeah, a lot of other topics I can't remember. We've talked about diving holidays, how to plan the perfect diving holiday. We've talked about free diving, how to do a proper static breath hold, how to stretch, how to calm yourself down, all of those things. So a lot of interesting talks. So the 31st October is going to be about Lightroom. And this is something that Dr. Ola is actually doing it for us. And she has so much knowledge and she's the most kind-hearted, lady. So she's actually coming in to share that knowledge with all the other photographers. And this is going to be a training which is going to go in deep into how you get your underwater pictures, color corrected or stuff because of, the challenges that we have, the light and the visibility and the backscatter and all of those things. So how do you really use Lightroom to, to enhance your pictures better? So I'm super excited.
I'm super excited too. I'm going to be there for sure.
Amazing. We'll love to have you. So we are looking forward to it. And we've already had requests of, getting to repeat this again because some of them are not available. And then we'll have you to talk about shark conservation.
I'm really looking forward to it because the kind of people you meet at these talks,
yes,
they stay with you.
Yes. And it's a nice way to even meet more people, and you kind of then understand the passions that each divers have. And then you can, relate to it more, try and get them connected to the right people. Like you got driven on certain topics.
You get inspired all the time at Dive Campus.
Yes.
Tell us a little more about how you find time to do all these things. I have seen you as a friend. I have also seen you as a professional. And kudos to you. I don't know how you do all these things.
To be honest, I feel that I am so bad at time management. When I was in my corporate job, when I start my day, I knew exactly this is what I'm going to do. These are the meetings I'm going to have. I'm going to go in at this time, come in at this time, and my day is planned out. Yes, there are obviously some surprises that come in, but still you're time boxed, It's impossible to time box when you're an entrepreneur. So owning a business, this was the first time for me to experience this. So I never thought in my life that I would get into business. But
really?
But I always wanted to do this as a retirement thing. I wanted to have a shack by the beach where I could serve nice food. That was my plan. But to do it, I was blessed to get that chance, at such an early age because of Islam. So the whole bit that we developed, I did not realize what I'm signing up for. Mm-hmm. So my day starts with messages from at night, because there are people overnight, then they have time from work and, they start asking for questions and stuff. So before even the staff comes, I don't want to let them lying around. So I would respond to my, customers' queries and kind of plan my day, come into the center, and then you would have things piling up from nowhere and you don't know the things that you've done. You've not finished them, but you've had like 10 other tasks that you managed to complete.
And people walked in.
And people walked in, serve, to entertain people who come in, host them. So I wouldn't change it for a thing, but I would definitely want to improve or try and get in some of the learnings that I have on my corporate job, to improve, which is what is helping me. Thankfully, I've done so much project management in my previous job, so I kind of use those skills here to help me stay sane, because I'm a person who,
if I have OCD,
if I have like 5 tasks not checked, it will drive me nuts. So, and it will spoil my mood, and I'll be so stressed and I'll be anxious about not completing it. And then I can't let a message stay there. So my personal WhatsApp has gone down the drain. It's now all about, all the different channels that customers reach out to us on. And I have to make sure that they are, answered and taken care of. So, yeah.
Do you think your diving and your free diving training has made you a calmer person overall?
I think it has changed my lifestyle. So I am calmer. In general, I'm a patient person, but I think the anxiousness is only about me not being able to finish. I want to finish things quickly.
Yeah.
I love to check my boxes. So
Yeah.
so when I see that that's not happening, that's what makes me anxious, and then I'll end up spending more time and finishing it off. That's the thing. But I think freediving, what it helped me was to build a better lifestyle, so to say, because it's not freediving is not like scuba diving. You need to make sure that you make serious changes in your in what you eat, and what time you sleep, how you keep yourself calm during trainings and things like that, stretching, exercise. So I think that is what it shifted me to, and I'm very happy because after starting the business, I think my workout and everything kind of took a back seat. So it was I did not have the time, but then freediving forces me to focus on that. So it helped me that. But yes, it does help you to calm down, because there are certain routines that you are supposed to do before your dives to have a good dive, and if you have too much on your mind, you may not have a good dive. So I really feel, at least for me personally, um, how my state of mind is actually 50% responsible to how my dive is going to be. 30% maybe equalization.
But you fix
And
that with surgery, yeah?
yeah, but equalization is a never ending thing. You will have days when it's working well, when you have days when you have cold and flu, and you're in trouble again. So
You're someone who also organizes a lot of trips. We've seen you diving all over the world, from Saudi to Egypt to everywhere, Maldives as well.
yes.
But you organized your first big free diving trip recently to the hub, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
It was not a big trip. It was very close knitted. So we were only a few people, which we knew how they dive. So we wanted to make sure that it's written. And it was more of a retreat, to be honest. Islam and I had a very tough, 1.5 years. So we wanted to just take ourselves out of it and relax. So we went to the hub. Everybody's favorite, is the best place to go and chill. So we went in there and focused only on freediving for the whole week. It was mainly for me to, train on a certain part of, skills that I wanted to improve on. So I wanted to focus more on bifins, because I love that more than free immersion. So I tried to get myself, focused on that and train, and rather than spending time in training and just fun diving, it doesn't help. So that was a very nice time. The day was also very, very well structured. So we used to wake up in the morning, start with stretching, have very light, like a light avocado juice, something very light, go into the sea, train, come back, have a light lunch, again go back, train. And then the evening is, again, to just unwind. And sometimes we used to do ice baths and, get.
Wow.
So it actually opened my mind up to freediving more. So I was very skewed towards scuba and tech. And obviously, when I became a freediving instructor, I wanted to train, but it was still not my core focus. But I think personally, for me, more than me teaching, it is personally for me, I want to go in and explore more, train for deeper depths, and train for longer times, and train on different types of, disciplines, which is some of the things that I want to do now, which I'll be focusing on in the coming months.
Talking about the deepest depth, you were hiding another achievement now that I remember. Tell us about that one, please.
Oh, so the tech dive 100-meter that I did in Saudi, that was more like a celebratory dive after we finished our tech instructor course. I didn't know, to be honest. I know, like, it's being positioned as the first Indian woman, but I didn't know. I took it as a achievement, like as a celebratory dive, to be honest, because we finished a very
Ladies
long,
and
hard
gentlemen,
week.
she just went diving to 100 meters just for fun, yeah? She didn't plan it. It happened by accident. Whoopsie.
No, it did happen by accident. We had a 2 day of preparation there, but it was not part of the original plan. So we had to finish our tech instructor course, and it was a very extensive one that we did for a week. Once we finished that, we were like, okay, we finished everything. We have 3 more days. What to do? So, and that's how we planned. So we mixed our own gases, because I'm a tech blender too. So I mixed my own gas, like made sure that everything is okay. planned for all types of, in tech, you have like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D.
X, Y, Z.
So we had all plans in place in case what happens. And, but I think what was completely worth it was that moment when I crossed the 90 meters. So it was, the topography of the place was like a plane that goes, so you have like a plane at 40 meters, then a drop off, then about 80 meters, then a drop off. And then from 85 onwards, it's a long, steep slope that goes on. And about at 90 meters, it is a steep drop off to God knows how deep, right? And that part, the 95-ish and the drop off, it was like a day and night. So you're going into darkness, and it was like 9 a.m, So my primary light failed. So I had to thankfully I had my backup light, which was a cheap light. So I didn't even realize that would stay. Go into that, and everywhere we, put our light onto, you just see like canyon of, like rocky structures that you can see around you. And Islam described it very well. He said you feel a sense of respect to, to God, because you kind of, when you're doing all of this, you kind of get very busy, and you don't realize ultimately where you are, and who you are.
For sure.
So you're a tiny being in that place, and being in that spot and seeing that things are never ending, and wherever you put the torch, you just see the canyons just continuing, and you're just a tiny being there, was a very overwhelming feeling. I loved every bit of it, and I still talk about it, and I get goosebumps.
I'm getting goosebumps too listening to you.
So that was like one of the most special moments of my life, to be in that depth and come back up. Obviously, the dive up was much longer than the dive down, but that moment when we were there in that drop off, not at 100 meters, it's like 95 and beyond, and being in that drop off and just going down into darkness, and just with your, whatever you can light up with your torch, that was the best part of the dive.
Do you think it was a life-changing experience? Did you come back from there with a different perspective?
Yeah, I think it keeps you more grounded, because when you're in this moment of achieving things, you kind of start forgetting where you are. So it kind of brings you down, like you are still the tiny human, So it keeps you grounded, and that's what I like about being in the sea. When you're swimming with hammerheads, when you're swimming with, things that are larger than you, things that have been there from
a whale shark
way before that you have been. So that's what I like about being in the ocean, because it keeps you grounded. It makes you realize how humans, like planet, can survive even without humans.
It's true.
It's us who have actually made it much worse, and the planet is suffering because of us, because of all the impacts that we have been doing. But if you, like 400 million years ago, like sharks were still there, and it was still, the ocean was thriving, and things were, still surviving without us being there. So
talking about conservation, you're someone who's a leading activist when it comes to oceans around the world. What have you been doing, and what can we do to do our part to save the ocean?
I don't do things at a very large scale. Okay, I'm somebody who likes to teach within my community that every dive can be a survey dive, like how PADI likes to position it, right? So for me, every dive is a cleanup dive. Every dive is a survey dive. So even if I don't find any trash, happy days, I still post it on the app that today my dive was clean of, and clear from debris. Or if I do find trash, I do submit it, because it's important to have this data. We serve as citizens science, so this is something that we need to keep contributing to, to the foundation, so they can understand how much impact has been done, or how much improvement has been done, over the years. So I have actually adopted 3 dive sites across different places.
Not 1, not 2, 3, yeah.
And I would love to do more. So I have adopted the Martini Bay, because that's my favorite part. Like, I know people dive a lot around Martini Rock, but I absolutely love Martini Bay.
Same here, by the way.
And it is heartbreaking, the amount of trash that you find there, just because it's a very nice place to do camping and stuff. So you'll end up finding trash all the time. So I for that specific reason, I adopted that. And then I've adopted Inchcape 10, because around the sandy area, if you go with your DVP, you might end up finding things. Again, because a lot of fishing happens, things have been thrown out. Not as bad as Martini Bay, but still there is trash. And the third one is in Jumeirah, our home. So again, because of swimming, snorkeling, paddling, things are always thrown off. So those are the things that I kind of do. And obviously the beach cleanup, I end up going with kids, my students, and when we're in the beach, we do cleanups around that.
How can people reach out to you and know more about these ocean conservation activities?
Well, they can contact Dive Campus, 800 Scuba. And if they want to talk directly to me, please ask for me. I'm always there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
And further.
And further. So always available around the clock. Anything related to the ocean, please do call.
Any future trips coming up as well?
Well, I am actually traveling today to Damanyat. We have a 3-day trip coming up. So we will be coming back on Sunday, and we're doing 2 days in Damanyat Island and 1 day in Alpha Hall. I absolutely love Alpha Hall.
The turtles there are amazing.
Turtles, and the coral quality is unbelievable. So I love that. And and after that we have Kasab trips coming up. So nothing really far off international for this year. And then next year we'll have something to do with Mexico and Saudi. So if you want to join, please
I will definitely come to Mexico with you.
Absolutely. That'll be amazing.
Tell us a little about the year looking back. I know it's been a year of achievement for you, and so many things have happened. Like everything has changed in your life. Is it still sinking in, or have you finally accepted everything that's happened over the last 1 year?
So funnily enough, I did not realize how much stressed or how much like weight I felt on my shoulders until the last day of the course director graduation day. Yeah. So on the graduation evening, when all the results were announced and all the celebration was happening, I suddenly felt like my shoulders was light, and I did not know that I was taking so much stress for that. It was just like that goal of, October that I was running towards and doing stuff towards. So it was very overwhelming throughout, but I didn't realize because you're kind of in the groove of it, So it was on that last day that I really felt, I can relax now. So that was a nice feeling. When I look back, it all feels kind of blur right now because everything happened so much and so fast. So I think if it was mainly because I had like so much to do, even on Dive Campus, because we were just new.
1.5 years old.
1.5 years old. We're babies, so we're still growing. There's so much, that we want to do. So it was, and we're a small team, so we try to get things done within the small team, and I think it was mainly because of that it felt so overwhelming. But I'm glad I think everybody around me was super supportive in everything that I wanted to do. My students, my my peers, my mentors, everybody was quite supportive. So that kind of helped a lot. This journey is very for somebody who's not in that path. It becomes quite daunting when you see that many criterias to be met.
Of course.
So it's very important to have the right people too. So Firas, for example, was very supportive throughout, and he's been kind of the mentor throughout to make sure that, I kind of move through, understand what next to be done, and, achieve it, and then go back. Now what? It's like, okay, do this now. And, so it was quite helpful from his side to get that. And the entire PADI, instructor development staff, you email them, they will get back to you with, what information you need. So that was very good.
Hats off to you. You have had an amazing adventure and an amazing journey over the last 1.5 years. But all of this goes back 8 years. I know you downplayed it in the beginning, but you did have a near drowning experience. And touch wood, mashallah, you're still here, achieving amazing things and inspiring the people around you. But when you look back to that girl 8 years ago, is there any advice you would give yourself? Anything you would do differently?
I would just tell her start earlier. I felt I lost so many of my years in not doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's like I loved my corporate journey. It made me who I am today. But it's just that you could have done this in parallel, but much earlier, and I would have done so much more. So I just feel that I'm lost on a few years. So I would just say that just get into the pool, girl. Like you don't need to, you don't need to be scared. So just that bit. You won't believe. I have traveled to Thailand. I've traveled to so many different tropical places, and I used to go to every dive center and say, guys, can I dive? And they never really allowed me to because of my ear condition.
Of course.
So they always kind of said that, no, doctor. And there was no doctor who really gave me the right advice.
Who did you go to finally? Was it in India or the UAE?
So I had done the surgery in India when I was younger, but it did not work out. And
What
it
is
has a
this
50.
surgery? I
So
know you
basically
personally,
it's
so I
a
know about it.
tympanoplasty is what they call it. So it's I had a hole in my eardrum. So when you're equalizing, you need to have the eardrum so it can, pressurize. So because of this, because of the hole, I had to get it grafted. Yeah, the skin graft had to be placed to replace the eardrum, and then the eardrum grows over it. So what I understand, and I had tried to do this in India, but I think I was too young, so I didn't really take care of it properly. I did not follow the guidance, that was given aftercare and stuff properly, and so I think that's why it kind of fell off. Now. Because of that, now my hole became much bigger and practically not there. So now the surgery had to be done more carefully. So I consulted a lot of doctors. I actually researched a lot about this, and I want to do a little bit of write up on this myself because there's very little information for people who are facing the same issue. So when you have a hole in your eardrum, you cannot dive. You can swim, but you need to make sure that your ears are covered because any water droplet going into your middle ear will be an infection immediately.
Yeah.
So even when I used to shower, I had to put a Vaseline on the cotton bud and put it in so that no water can go in. And so when you do this, now there is two ways to tackle this. You can dive with a earplug, and that's available only in the US. And I tried ordering them a lot, but it doesn't reach to UAE for some reason, and it keeps going back. So there is a plug which basically has a tiny vent, which basically helps you to pressurize and stuff, and it helps a lot of people who have ear equalization problems. But because I couldn't get access to that plug and I wanted to really dive, so I thought, okay, I have to fix it surgically, fine. So I tried to go to a lot of doctors. There was one that I met in Medcare, and he told me, fine, I can fix it for you, but you need to promise no skydiving, no scuba diving.
That's why I'm doing it.
It's like, okay, let's fix it and we talk about it later. And once I went with that surgery, I then met another doctor through Dr. Barbara, who is a diver himself, and he is an ENT specialist. So what was interesting was how open he was to the fact, because he understands, usually doctors, they don't understand the diving side of it. So they would give you a very, like a parental advice of don't do it, that kind of a thing. So it was nice for him to be open to understand that what I want to do. And he was like, okay, you can try, but let's first test whether your new eardrum is flexible enough to take equalization. So there's something called as tympanometry, which is a test that they do to check whether your ear equalizes, and he tells you to pressurize and he checks that. So luckily for me, and this is only God's blessings, because it was equalizing. So he was like, okay, you can try diving. So he told me to just go and do a Discover Scuba dive. And I went and I booked myself for open water.
Of course you did.
and I went through a tough time during my early diving days because everything was new. I did not know how normal it should feel, because one thing is it's an artificial eardrum, so you don't feel pain like you do. So you need to be careful, and you need to know a pressure. So typically you learn that when you feel pain, you go up. I wouldn't feel pain here because it's just pressure. So I don't know whether this is the pressure because of it's still okay for me to equalize, or this is the pressure because
so how did you deal with that? That sounds
it was a lot of
challenging.
learning. Yeah, it was sort of it's understanding your body. So and you can only do that by diving more. So I used to train a lot in the pool because it's the first half a meter itself that used to make me feel that I need to equalize. So I trained a lot in the pool. I tried to feel the difference between the 2 years and how it works. And freediving helped me a lot with equalization, because you're with one breath and you need to equalize. So I think a combination of freediving, scuba diving, and training a lot in the pool kind of got me to the understanding of what's my limit and what I can do. And it's only the first 10 meters that I usually struggle with, but then I'm okay. And now it's fine. I know this doesn't feel like that, and I know how to treat both of them. And I used to literally, after every dive, I used to go to Dr. Sasha and say, I just dived. Can you check if everything is still okay? Is it still okay? So, and he blew up the eardrum for me, and I took a picture of that. I call it my wings because it really gave me the chance to fly. But he blew it up for me, and he was like, this, and I used to always call it the bad ear because and he used to tell me, it's actually good, so you need to stop calling it the bad ear. It's actually good and it's working fine, so you need to stop coming to me now and just go and dive and enjoy. And the next that I saw him was when I became an instructor, because I told him it was because of him that I was able to go through. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ever gotten into diving.
Was he surprised or impressed?
He was actually like, yeah, he was surprised. It's like, how did that happen? I did not, he did not comprehend that it went into that. But yeah, he was one of our guests as well for the Everything Diving Nights. Wow. And he came in and he did the talk about equalization. And it was amazing because of the amount of knowledge he has, especially because he is a diver too. So he exactly understands, how to explain to, people like us. So that was amazing.
From someone who could barely dive 1 meter, who actually conquered 100 meters, who's now done all these amazing things. What do you have to say as motivation or to inspire the next generation of divers in this country?
I think you just need to try. I go by the saying, when the wind is not blowing your way, you adjust your sail. So I've always lived by that quote. And if something is not working for you, try what would, and talk to the right people, get the right advice. I don't think, as the way God has made us, anything is a limitation, you can do if you put your mind to it. So I've always been that, and I love to pass on that same message. And I hope I can inspire even one person to do that. It'll be really good, because I was looking for that. I was looking for somebody who could tell me that, yes, you can. And, Dr. Sasha was one of them. Islam was one of them. So it was nice to have those people around you. And I would love to be that for somebody.
You are that to everybody who meets you, by the way.
Thanks.
So you said Dive Campus on Instagram and Blissful and Blue.
Yes, that's your personal
one.
Personal Instagram. Yes.
So this is where people can find you for advice, for courses, for cleanups, for dive travel. The list goes on. Yeah.
Yes.
And the next dive talk you said you have is on the 31st.
31st of October. So yeah, if anybody is an underwater photographer and is interested in learning about how to edit pictures better, so yes, it's a free event. So we don't charge money to people. We love talking about diving. So we get everybody in the same room and we just go on for the next 2 hours. So yeah, so if anybody is interested, they could join.
Amazing. Thank you so much for making the time in your busy schedule. Literally, you're going on a diving trip in 1 hour. So we appreciate having you here today.
I told you that anything for you. You're my darling, and I'm actually so happy that you asked me to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for being a part of my personal journey as well and helping me every step of the way.
Love you.